Hi, you're watching Hindustan Times. I'm Aditi Prasad. The last 1 week has been full of very fast-paced developments, political developments in the state of Punjab, and it's really been a roller coaster. It's one of the few big states ruled by the Congress party, and it's going to go to polls within the next 4 to 5 months. But the politics there is in a quandary right now, with a lot happening. And to unpack all of this, we have with us the Hindustan Times editor-in-chief, Sukumar Ranganathan, who is going to explain to us bit by bit, one by one, what are the implications for the upcoming polls in Punjab of what is happening in the state, on Navjot Singh Sidhu, for Amrinder Singh, what are the implications, and of course for the grand old party, which is, in its worst situation as of now, because it seems to be plagued by a crisis once again. Sukumar, welcome to the show. Let's start with what's happening in Punjab. Tell us, what are the implications for the Punjab Congress in the upcoming polls of what's happening here? Let's start with that.
I think we should start with a warning, because by the time this is aired, things could have changed again.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
Because things have been moving very rapidly. And as things stand, we are told Sidhu is still in the party. He's not left. And the issue seems to have been addressed. Which basically seems to suggest that the Chief Minister has given in, the new Chief Minister. But your question was, what does it mean for the Congress? And I think the more important question is, what does it mean for the polls, right? Which is at a broader level, and which is more than the Congress. And I think what this means is that the elections are wide open, because you look at each one of the players, and it's very interesting. The BJP, ever since the farm laws came, has really lost ground in Punjab, and no one, not even senior leaders in the BJP, expect the party to do well. So they are pretty much
sitting back and enjoying the show.
This is like a team that has made the IPL playoffs watching a match between number 7 and number 8, or this is a team which has not made the playoffs, just watching whatever it is. So the BJP is not in this game. The Akalis sense an opportunity, but two things may work against them. Little late to exit the government after the farm laws. So there is that association, although since then they've been very, very strident in their opposition of the farm laws. And the old sacrilege case and the shooting incident, that hangs over them like a cloud. And especially in Punjab, this is like a big deal, right? I mean, an offense against the holy book of the Sikhs is truly affected the sentiment of many, many common Sikhs, and I think that is an issue that they will have to really do something to get out of. So that they're there, but leaves them at a disadvantage. Not so much as the BJP, but the Aam Aadmi Party doesn't have a face. You need to have a Sikh face. The Chief Minister of Delhi and the Aam Aadmi Party chief, Arvind Kejriwal, has said that they will find a Sikh face. No one knows who it is. But their existing leader is a little miffed because he has clearly, this seems to suggest to him that he is not that leader, right? He is not that face.
Correct.
Right? So that is an issue. And then you have the Congress, which is like, just simply imploding, going to pieces. As one of our editorials put it this week, before the changes in Punjab, there were 2 factions. Now it looks like there are 5, right? So it just creates all kinds of issues in the state. The elections are wide open. They will be extremely interesting elections to cover for you and me. Very difficult to predict. And we'll have to see how things play out.
Do you believe that this rapprochement with Sidhu, which was played out yesterday after a meeting between Channi and Sidhu, this whole thing to appease Sidhu, has the Congress got that right? Because Sidhu is unpredictable and will remain unpredictable, and with elections approaching, actually around the corner, do you think it's wise to have Sidhu in your corner? Maybe it was a good thing that happened that Sidhu exited the scene.
The unfortunate thing about a person like Sidhu is that everything tends to get overwhelmed by our perception of him as a cricketer who was temperamental enough to fight with his captain and then come back from England in the middle of a tour, as someone who used to participate in a laughter show on television, as a commentator who used to speak in hyperboles and in convoluted sentences and think that it was witty, and unfortunately some members of the audience also thought it was witty, but we have to leave all that aside and you have to break it up and look at the issues. The points over which Sidhu resigned are valid, right? You have to accept that. How he went about the resignation, how he went about getting his way was completely messed up. You have to speak to the chief minister, you will have to arrive at some sort of consensus. You can't just say, no, I didn't get my way, so I'm leaving, right? So that was completely out of bounds. What he did after he resigned, putting out stuff on Twitter, some old article, article about this DGP and the Attorney General and his views on them and all that, seemed to suggest that I'm going in and I've already decided that this is what I want, right? I mean, which is not the way in which you approach talks. So my understanding is the crisis may have been averted this time, but irrespective of the genuineness of the issue, if this is how the man is going to behave, if this is how it is going to be, because it all seems to be my way or the highway, right? And it's not going to be easy for the Congress. So I don't think this rapprochement is going to solve anything in Punjab. I think in the run-up to the elections, you're going to have many such flare-ups. I dread to think what will happen during ticket distribution, right? I mean, selection of candidates, because this man is going to say it's all going to be my way
or the highway.
And see, I think deep down, all of this comes from the fact that he sees himself as Amrinder's successor. He was made PCC chief, but at the end of the day, party chiefs are not powerful, right? Correct. I mean, it's the chief minister who's more powerful than the party chief, right? It's the reason why in some parties it's the same person who has both positions. Sidhu wanted to become chief minister. He wasn't made chief minister after Amrinder Singh for a variety of reasons. But that, I think, is at the core of it all. So this is not going to
go away anytime soon, and hence my question that maybe it wasn't such a good idea to cajole him and get him back. But that is, of course,
no. But what is the alternative? I mean, is the alternative worse than this? Is the alternative better than this? Because he does have his supporters in the party. It's not that he doesn't have his supporters in the party.
Yeah, there are people who quit with him. Yeah, absolutely. So that brings me to the Congress High Command. You know, there's something going on there. Clearly, decisions are being taken which are not going down very well, which are not actually translating well on the ground, whether in Punjab or in Rajasthan or in Chhattisgarh. And now there's the G-23, which has sort of started raising its voice again. So let's break it up. What does this mean for first, for the G-23 going forward? Because they have voiced their dissent in no uncertain terms, and they have.
But what is the end game, right? I mean,
exactly,
and that's the key question, right? I mean, what is the end game? Is this going to make the party high command, and let's not beat around the bush, right? I mean, high command is just
Sonia
the Gandhis,
right? And the Rahul Gandhis.
Yeah. I think basically all the calls right now are being taken by Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi, and Sonia Gandhi goes ahead with this. So that is basically the unit that is making these decisions. Are they going to change? Unlikely. The first letter from the G-23 was written in 2019,
exactly,
August, I think. Been 2 years.
2 years.
No change. And it is not going to change. But what can the G-23 do? Are they going to split the party? Are they going to leave? Because they need to have the courage to do that. Right? This whole thing of we can resurrect the Congress from inside is not going to happen, in my view, simply because the Gandhis are not going to change. They're going to continue to do what they're doing, and they've been doing this for some time. So that is not going to change at all. So I just think that, sure, they've again protested, they've asked for a CWC meet, but again in the CWC meet you will have a bunch of loyalists who shout down these guys. You saw the hooliganism that went on outside Kapil Sibal's house.
Yeah.
I mean, fairly disgusting. You don't see that kind of behavior. You're not supposed to do that. So what does this mean? He's not allowed to voice his criticism. So I think it's very weird.
All right. So what you're saying is that nothing's going to change in the Congress.
My sense is nothing is going
Nothing
to change.
is going to change even after the CWC. They'll call a CWC.
If there is a CWC.
Well, they do say that they have planned one,
Yeah.
and it's going to happen soon. And soon is again a very vague term, right? Soon can mean today, soon can mean 2 months down the line. But having said that, if nothing is changing in the Congress, and if the G-23 are, once again raising their voice, only to be shouted down again by the loyalists, the Gandhi loyalists, so to speak, once again, does this mean that there is no, because what it does leave me with a sense of is that there is no opposition in the country, and that is
there is an opposition, but it is regional opposition, right? Because I think this is affecting the Congress party in two very significant ways. The first way in which it is affecting the Congress party is it's affecting its own prospects. You look at what's happened in Punjab, messed up. You look at what's happened in Goa, messed up. And this morning there were these reports of something happening with Sangma.
Sangma, yeah.
Right? Now, I don't know whether that is true or not. Our information is still not confirmed. But the fact is you're having problems all over the country, so it's affecting you, this leadership issue. But there is a second way in which it affects you. And the second way in which it affects you is it weakens your position within whatever united opposition tries to, emerge ahead of the 2024 elections. Because what is very clear is that the BJP can't be taken on by one party.
Right.
It can be taken on by one party at the regional level, but at the national level, you need a grouping of parties to take on the BJP. And the Congress's position to call the shots in this grouping, to even be a significant player in this grouping is weakening by the day. And that is unfortunate, because in some states, the BJP and the Congress go head to head, right? Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat,
Right.
Rajasthan,
Right.
all key states, Assam.
With a very large number of MPs
you're just taking away all of those. So it just weakens the whatever opposition can come up against the BJP very, very significantly. It's not that the BJP doesn't have problems. You look at what they've been doing in terms of changes of chief ministers to overcome anti-incumbency, to put their house in order. They have issues, but at the end of the day, they're going to be looking at what's happening and feeling happy about it, because one, it weakens the Congress, and two, it weakens the larger opposition.
So what did look like a masterstroke in Punjab has actually turned out to be a disaster stroke. And thank you, Sukumar, for giving us all those insights into the fast changing political scenario in Punjab ahead of the upcoming polls. We'll keep coming back to you, our viewers, with more. Stay tuned to Hindustan Times.